Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about, of course, the rally PTI Jalsa that was supposed to end at 7 o'clock. We also have reports that there's been reportedly injury of a policeman, and of course we've also seen some scuffles broke out and refusal to end the Jalsa at 7 o'clock, which is when the permission was for, and that is the latest news as far as the Jalsa is concerned. But we'll be talking about the overall ramifications of what this rally means for the party itself and also for political process at this time, for the talks between political parties, for a process of back and forth exchange which had started between the opposition and the government, and whether that can continue in the wake of this kind of a Jalsa, the narrative that has been put forward. We've also seen speakers, different concerns, so to speak, the narrative as put forward by PTI. We'll be talking about that. Also a little bit about the Peaceful Assembly and Public Order Act 2024, which has come into law. We'll be talking about this new legislation and what it means overall for political assembly, for it has political and security implications, all of that today on Perspective. I have with me Daniyal Sheikh, who's a political analyst. Thank you for being with us today. We also have Barrister Safi Ghauri, who is a lawyer and a senior analyst. Thank you for joining us. And Fakhar Yousafzai, who is a senior journalist. Thank you for being with us today. Daniyal, like we were earlier saying, for all intents and purposes, as the reports come in, it seems to not be the numbers don't seem to be what was anticipated by the PTI leadership, what was talked about, what was hinted. How do you look at that? Do you think that that will also have an impact on their followers, we've also seen, certain content on social media that has been proven to be fake. So how do you look at those developments in the light of this rally?
And before answering this question, I would like to add one line to your what the question you asked. Now, this is a political party which is this is the 11th year, consecutive 11th year that they're in power in a province, and in the past 36 hours, the state machinery within the province, like media was reporting, they were using their fire trucks, they were using ambulances, other state machinery to create, and not just that, they were also using state machinery to gather people. And despite doing that, now Sanjani being right at the border of KPK and Punjab, they were still not able to put up a show that was anticipated or what they were portraying or what they were claiming to. So definitely that's enough to tell the masses that where they politically stand. And I believe the reason why they violated the written agreement, which was till they were supposed to
end at 7 o'clock.
And at 7 o'clock, the reason why they did this was they wanted some kind of a ruckus so they can get some media attention, because the show itself was it was a complete failure.
Let me go to Fakhar Yousafzai. Fakhar Sahab, do you agree with what Daniyal here is saying in terms of the numbers also, and of course, the fact that it didn't end at 7 as was the agreement, and the permission was to be revoked after 7 o'clock. We've also, of course, seen it's a Sunday, but there has been, overall the ramifications of the Jalsa, which necessitate taking certain actions for the safety of people, for the safety of public, which are, at the least irksome and a problem for everyday life. Fakhar Sahab, can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you.
Thank you very much for inviting, Mahrukh. And I will start from, as Daniyal said, that the Sanjani is a border between Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or Islamabad. I don't agree with that. I think so. The government stopped the people and they have blocked the different entrances of Islamabad. We all from this city, we know about that. I think so. I'm not talking about the number that they have gathered 2 or 3 lakh people over there in the Jalsa. But I think so. Why the government was worried? This is the main concern of the journalists like me. That why they are stopping the people to enter in the Islamabad, not the supporter of PTI or not the supporter of government, but they were entering for different purposes. They are living here in Islamabad. They are doing jobs. They were coming from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They were coming from Punjab, different areas. I think so. I don't know about this policy.
Generally speaking, when we look at the situation of the country at this time, as far as we've seen what happened in Balochistan, the Jalsa is not happening there. But overall, the ramifications as far as security concerns are concerned, certainly for other rallies also. If we look at the Jamaat-e-Islami, we look at other political parties also, those measures have been taken, and it's not that this one political party is being specially treated, or these hurdles, as you say, have been placed just because of them. There seems to be, as far as a code of conduct, there seems to be a procedure that is being followed for the safety of citizens. Isn't that accurate?
I think so. I know the government should take this type of measure for the protection of the people, but they shouldn't stop the people to move from one place to the another. Why they make to Islamabad like a castle, and they want to create a walls from with the different cities? I don't think so. I don't agree with that. And as well as the political rallies or gathering are concerned here in Pakistan, or the security situation, I 110% agree with that. The situation is not good in Pakistan, especially the security situation. We know about the Balochistan today. The Afghan Taliban was attacking on the Pakistani forces at the Turkhan border. We know all those things. But I think so, if the other political gathering are allowing by the government in Lahore yesterday, at Minar Pakistan, TLP in here in Lekadbagh, in Islamabad, in Rawalpindi, I think so they should allow the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. I don't think so that they will be able.
Fakhar Saab, there is also, in terms of allowing is concerned, we are looking at a rally happening now, one, and then a rally that was supposed to end at 7, not ending, the scuffle that we've seen. Reportedly, an injury has also occurred. Of course, we'd like to confirm that, but those are the reports. And then, as far as a distrust is concerned, do you think that distrust is very much present if we look at the events of 25th May, if we look at the events of the 5th May and 9th May and the 25th May, there is a distrust between the administration and the party as a whole, and that will take some time. Reneging, going back on promises, trying to hoodwink the administration. Those are some of the concerns that we've seen in the past. Isn't that true?
I agree with you. The distrust is there, but I think so if the government will allow the PTI, I think so they will be totally flop. They will be totally flop. Without that, if you are creating hurdles, they will say, oh, there were so many containers on the motorway in Sawabi and some other areas. I think so. This is the justification, providing the justification to the PTI. I think so. The government should allow them that. Please come and gather your people here in Sanjani and make your show here. I think so. This will be very tough for the PTI. I think so. They have cancelled the 2 times before this. Their gathering in Islamabad, and I don't think so. The people will come 3rd time with the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or other parts of Pakistan, and they will join their Jalsa. I think so. I don't.
Let me come back to you on that. I want to come to Safiullah. Safiullah, if you'll give me a minute, Daniyal wants to say something and then I'll come back to you. Ji, Daniyal.
A few hours ago, before the Jalsa, a person was arrested with explosive material. Now, the reason why the police was able to arrest him was there was a single entry point for the Jalsa. Had there been multiple entry points, it's humanly not possible to have a check on each and every, and God forbid, had that person reached his venue and achieved his target, the collateral damage which it would have caused, and more than that, the political impact, because the PTI would get an excuse. They would say the government didn't provide us with security. Nobody was stopped, but the reason for having one entry point was just to ensure security.
Right, fair enough, and I think that's a very important, valid point. Let me go to Barrister Safiullah Ghauri. Safullah, there is, we've seen, in your opinion, let me take your opinion on the Jalsa first and then we'll move on. I want to talk to you about the legal points also, the new legislation that has come up.
Right. So, Mahrukh, I think it's fairly obvious what's happening, and I will concur with what Daniyal has just said. The problem here is that Pakistan is suffering from a very unique situation that, in the sense that we have tremendous terrorism, tremendous security issues. There are bomb blasts taking place within the country almost on a daily basis. We obviously cannot risk these terrorists getting into Islamabad. I don't know why people are of the opinion. It's very easy, right? If there's a Jalsa coming in, millions of people coming in, people would come in. And in fact, right before the show started, I watched a video. They are trying to enter through different routes. That's why the scuffles are taking place right now. They're coming in through G15. They're violated their agreement. Now they're trying to come in through different routes. The problem is not PTI. The problem is the kind of miscreants who can come along with PTI. Number one, the kind of terrorists who might just join in the Jalsa and come into Islamabad, hide here in Mehrabadi, then be deployed whenever they have to, which is a history of Islamabad, which is what we have seen time and again, that these people come in through Jalsas, then stay here and then get utilized to bomb and terrorize people whenever they have to. But secondly, also PTI itself, what are we talking about? Why should they be given any free passes here at all? They did 9th May, they attacked the GHQ, they attacked the military headquarters in Wazirabad, they were here, they attacked the parliament. 2015, they attacked the PTV, not PTV, the Radio Pakistan's headquarters, and they were found guilty by these things, by the courts. So if there is a political party that is consistently violating the code of peaceful conduct, why should they then be given an extra mileage and be allowed to come? In fact, the government is absolutely right to be extra careful with them, because clearly they cannot function when they are being given the kind of liberties that other parties are given. TLP was here. TLP did not create any problems. TLP did not break anything. No damage was done by TLP. TLP is very dangerous. There's no doubt about it. But TLP is still seemingly less dangerous than PTI, which has done 9th May and hurled the whole country into a massive crisis. So, well, obviously, I completely concur and agree that the government has to be a lot more careful. Now, regarding the question that you have pertaining to the new legislation.
Yes, I want to talk about this, in terms of what is being said and what is the actual reality, if you've had a chance to look at this legislation and what it can mean for assembly and for overall, for all political parties. Let's talk about that.
Why anybody could have a problem with it. The Peaceful Assembly and Public Order Act now is being targeted by some people as being against the freedom of assembly. But this kind of freedom of assembly that we have had in Pakistan, Mahrukh, is something that we have had nowhere in the world. Like I'm in Dubai most of the times now. I've been in the UK, been in the US. People are allowed to assemble, people are allowed to protest in different areas of the world, but they're given specific areas. In London, you have been in London yourself. There's Hyde Park. You can go assemble in Hyde Park, go protest there, but you cannot block, like for instance, Oxford Street. You cannot block Mayfair. You cannot block Kensington, which are thoroughways. In New York, you cannot go and block Manhattan. These are the financial centers. What happens with Pakistan is very unfortunate. What happens is that these people go and decide that they will choose which the area of the assembly is. Even if they're being given a ground, they do not stick to it. They end up going to D-Chowk. That is a nerve center of Pakistan. That is where the diplomatic enclave is. That is where all government offices are. And then everything gets choked. And the consequence is that ordinary people like myself get extremely inconvenienced on a daily basis. And we have seen that Pakistan has not been able to host any international conferences for years now. The singular reason being because of these protests. People, there are very good hotels here. There's Marriott, there's Serena. We can be holding international conferences. We could be hosting people for diplomatic issues like, for instance, Israel-Gaza issues that are taking place. We could have been one of the mediators. We could have done so many things. We are simply unable to because we cannot provide them a safe place to come and meet because we ourselves are not safe. At least one place should be safe.
Safullah, what is the criticism against this legislation? Things that the PTI is saying is that there are severe penalties, including imprisonment for repeat offenders, and highlights the growing frustration. That there is, according to them, they're saying that it is because of their demonstrations that this law has come.
I think that is correct. I actually agree with PTI on the fact that, yes, it is their demonstrations that have probably led to this law because they are the only ones who have inconvenienced Islamabad more than anyone else. I mean, since the very inception of PTI, since 2014, it has been a regular occurrence. Every single year, maybe twice, thrice a year, this is what we Islamadis go through. PTI locks us up and we can't go anywhere. Right now, in fact, even right now, at this exact moment, I have guests stuck in my house. They cannot travel outside because of the problems that we have right now. I could not come to the studio today because of the problems that we have going on right now. And this happens only when PTI comes, because they're the ones who seem to disrespect the law more than anybody else. As we have mentioned, they have a clear history of consistent violations as well. So I think there needed to be a law that would limit these protests.
Wrong. When we talk about imprisonment for repeat offenders, why is that principally wrong? I mean, in any law, for there to be imprisonment for a repeat offenders is rather part of the course, isn't it? It's something that is always, you know, in fact, it's always a part of legislation. If we look at penal legislation mostly, isn't that true?
That's and what happens when we go to argue a bail application in the court? We say that this person is a first-time offender. All right, they get off. If there is a repeat offender, then they don't get off. That is a part of our basic criminal code. That is how bails are granted in Pakistan. That is how we decide whether a person is an offender, a habitual offender, or if the person is, you know, just somebody who got caught once in a wrong place at the wrong time, sort of a situation.
Usually a consideration all over the world.
All over the world. Obviously, this is something that, how else would you distinguish between habitual criminals and normal people? So if they are talking about people who are habitually doing this, people who are habitually violating the law, I just don't understand what the problem could be. The law is very clear, and the law is there to protect normal people of Islamabad, because we are the ones who suffer on a daily basis. And it's not just us, by the way. I want to be very clear. When you block Islamabad, you are blocking all diplomatic channels. You are blocking all investments that are coming into Pakistan. People who want to come in and want to invest in Balochistan right now cannot fly into Islamabad because of these things. This is what happens on a daily basis. Pakistan as a whole suffers. It's not about, you know, an elite class in Islamabad suffering. Oh, they can't go out today. Fine, you know, that's one thing. But the reality is that business is being done here. Important state decisions are being taken here, and those state decisions cannot be taken because of the kind of problems that we face. So a very good solution that has been proposed is for them to have their demonstrations. They are not stopping demonstrations. They're not stopping protests. They're saying that we will have them in an area outside of Islamabad. Who could have a problem with that? I mean, if they have people, if PTI claims that they have 1 million people, they could have 1 billion people, whatever they claim, fine, gather them in some place, a big ground somewhere in Man.
Fair enough. Safiullah, let me come back to you. Daniyal, what you see as the, you know, as far as the leadership itself is concerned, we've seen that, you know, on the stage, Umar Ayub is also there, and other leadership is also. Ali Amin Gandapur is very much supposed to be the, you know, person behind bringing people. If you look at KP, and like you said, government machinery, administration, it seems to be there. It seems to be, you know, in plain view. Do you think that this change also that we've seen from Umar Ayub to Salman Akram Raja, and do you think there are issues within the party? We've also seen them speak today. What is your view of this?
There's a single point issue within the party, which is the power struggle. All that Ali Amin is concerned about is somehow saving his chief ministership. He's very little interested in running the show of the government in the province, and so it's basically a power play which is going on, and the reason why Sher Afzal Marwat and that Barrister Ghauri and they're all fighting, it's just a power play. I would like to add something to what you were saying earlier about the protest. As far as the international norm is concerned, if you remember, when Imran Khan was doing his dharna right before the Chinese premier's visit, at that time the SSP of Islamabad, he had a press conference, and he asked Imran Khan, because Imran Khan was giving the example of 10 Downing Street, protesters go there, and he asked him, like, which 10 Downing Street is this where people can come with slingshots and sticks and attack the policemen? It's very important to somehow tell them that they hold them accountable. The reason why they're this law, it talks about habitual offenders. Now, if you go back during that protest, Ali Amin was arrested and his car was filled with tear gas shells. Now, which state would allow a private citizen to bring tear gas shells into the capital? And as Mr. Ghauri was saying, this is not issues not only to Islamabad, all over. There's a video of the former president from PTI, Arif Alvi. He was ordering his workers in Karachi to besiege the city. So it's all over wherever PTI exists. This is their mentality. And even when they were in power, if you remember the first speech that Bilawal made, and he told them that now you need to come off the container and start running the country. So the exact same mentality we're seeing in KPK and amongst the leadership of PTI.
Because in fact, now that we are looking at the KP, like you are saying, KP governance is concerned. There are issues of governance now. Now they have the province, they have the government there. And yet, the issues of governance are again and surfacing. And we look at Punjab, and I have said this before also. Does it not remind us of the Buzdar era? Because there was a time when those criticisms against his governance were quite manifest, and they were there, and I think they were brought to the leader himself, to the founder of PTI himself, and ignored for a long time. So it's not just about, it's about governance also, like you are saying, not just about getting there, like Bilawal also had said earlier on, that it's once they get a province,
once they're responsible of the government. But not just that. If you remember, recently there was a in the news when he met the founder met Shahrukh Sahi. Shahrukh Sahi came outside and said that he hugged me, and Imran, the founder of PTI's sister, she came on national television and said he's lying. I was sitting there. He did not hug him. So the point is, it's all about somehow playing to the galleries and trying to hijack the show, because there is no organic leadership within the party. Most of them are parachutists, and they're just trying to play to the gallery. And now this man, Ali Amin, he is acting so irresponsible, considering the situation, considering the law and order situation in his province, which is the gateway from Afghanistan, and he's so much responsible to. But
Daniyal, was he chosen? Because we know that as a leader, he is known for his aggressive style of governance, and as far as Ali Amin Gandapur is concerned, was he chosen by the founder of PTI for the purpose that he's proving today? Was he chosen? I mean, that's a question, right?
That most certainly he was chosen for this purpose, and this shows the mentality. The founder of this party has a history and trajectory of choosing wrong people, and the small segment of society that supports him, they often say that he is a good man, but he doesn't have a good team, whereas the leader is responsible for selecting his team. Now you're comparing them with Punjab, so at least the presence of the provincial government can be seen in all the districts of Punjab. But whereas as far as KP is concerned, we don't see the presence of the government anywhere. In fact, today they even repainted government cars so they could bring them into the rally. So this just shows it's all about
the purpose seems to be
very much clear, which is to somehow bring down the federation and create a ruckus.
That bringing down the federation, let me come back to you on that. I'm going to go to Fakhar Saab. Fakhar Saab, we talk about, there's a lot that has been said about asking and exhorting people, as far as PTI itself is concerned, to come to this rally, to participate in this rally, and then if the numbers are, for example, 10 lakhs or more, they will mean, getting their founder out somehow. Where does this come from? What style of politics is it? Is it again that kind of thought process that brought about 9th May? Is it about that same, method that, we know what happened on 9th May? Was that, was it targeted to achieve the same? Is it, because essentially it is being said, if the numbers had been this, or if the numbers now, of course, we know the numbers were what they were, but that is what was said on social media.
Yeah, actually they were trying for to gather the people and might be possible in 1 million, but I don't think so that was possible for them. Even if they make this Jalsa or rally in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I don't think so the 1 million people will be gathered over there. I think so. This is. I don't think so. This is the reality. This is we can say that the misinformation type cheez jo hoti hai. So, as well as the political style or the government are concerned.
Mindset. Is it asking, do they, was this what was behind 9th May? That same thought process, that somehow the people, if they are of such a huge number, would bypass the law, or they would necessitate some kind of action to come from there, which is, not necessarily legal.
I think so. The 9th May, I don't think so. They will try it again. I don't think so. Actually, That was happened on 9th May 2023, and we have seen that. I think so. That was not a good sign, not only for the PTI, but I think so that was for Pakistan not a good sign. But I think so today they were trying to show their power to the federal government or to the other parties. But I think so the government was scared. I don't know why. Otherwise, the people who is running the Pakistan Tehreek Insaf right now, they are not the proper political mindset, and I think so they have not that much experienced people that they will gather the 200,000 or 300,000 people in Sangjani or somewhere else. I think so they were just trying for that we should create a pressure on the government, and I think so the government I think so the government was trying for that the PTI should be successful. I think so. Otherwise, there were no chance for the people that if the motorways or the other.
When we look at, it's not as simple as, looking at for the government, they need to take action for all eventualities. It's not that simple for, for you and I, perhaps, sitting here and thinking that, that it's just, we know that it is what everyone expected. Most people expected it to be, not too many numbers, like you are saying, people coming out, the machinery of KP being used, but not being able to attract the kind of numbers that PTI was talking about. But the question is, isn't the government entitled to and responsible for and mandated to cater for all eventualities with the background that we've seen earlier on? And again, like I said, there is distrust there, there is clearly a history there, and of course the capability of trying to damage Pakistan, its institutions, its state in an irrevocable manner is certainly something that the state is responsible to safeguard. So that is where one has to weigh the cost and see where they are, and I think you agree with me on that. Let me go to Safiullah. I'll come back to you. Safiullah, as far as talks between the government and the PTI are concerned, I think something that Fakhar Saab mentioned is he said the current leadership of the PTI is not of that kind of caliber. Of course, I'm not nothing against whoever is leading the PTI at this time, but do you think that they have the power to be able to have the kind of dialogue that is needed for between the government and the opposition, and after this rally there's a possibility that may happen?
So, Mahrukh, firstly, I don't even understand what grounds the talk would take place on. So, the number one demand that they have is to release Imran Khan. But the government is not holding Imran Khan. It's the courts that are holding Imran Khan. There are cases against him. He's right now imprisoned because of the ongoing cases. So what does he want the government to do? Does he want them to violate court orders and just open up the doors of Patiala jail and have him walk out? Or do they want them to make some sort of a new NRO and withdraw all cases against Imran Khan, pass a new legislation that exonerates all criminals from everything that they're doing? I'm not quite certain what the entire strategy is, because all I am seeing is that they're saying release him immediately. And I don't understand how the government is supposed to do that, even if they want to. They are not legally allowed to release him. The courts will release him. The courts will give him bails. The courts will give him acquittals when the courts see the evidence. So on your question, I mean, do they have the power? I'm not certain it's about power. I think it's more to do with the legitimacy of the demands itself, and I think the PTI needs to at least propose reasonable demands. Now, a very good demand could have been to have release extra money for KPK, for instance. KPK is almost on the verge of bankruptcy. We know that officers in KPK are not getting paid. The governance in KPK has reached an all-time low. And instead of focusing on KPK's issues, protesting for those, trying to focus, get the federal government to, somehow release more cash for KPK or do something else, give some sort of an extraordinary relief to KPK, what we see is them protesting for Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi's release, which once again, as a lawyer, I don't understand. How is that even going to happen? So this is why I keep saying that this is a personality-centric cult. And this is what all cults do. They talk only about an individual rather than a policy change. And we do not see a policy discussion. When we don't have a policy discussion, it does not matter whether the people dealing with it are mature, immature, whether they are empowered, unempowered. What matters is what is being said. And I think, unfortunately, the demands are just too ridiculous to listen to.
Safullah, even if we don't, I mean, forget about the demands, after this Jalsa, after the numbers that we've seen, don't you think that they will have to come to some sort of have some sort of dialogue with the government? Because, as far as relationship is concerned between the government and the opposition, of course, the government also wants there to be that kind of working relationship, like you are saying, and perhaps sanity, and even when demands are talked about, or even when give and take is talked about, those to be sane demands that are achievable and that are good for the people, and those considerations are important for Pakistan, whether they are in governance in KP, like you said, or whether overall in terms of legislation, in terms of what is better for the country.
We have discussed this many times. There is a place for discussing all of these issues. If you want to do what's better for the country, if you want to have policy discussions, if you want to put forward demands that the government can then talk about, if you want some give and take, some negotiations, there is a place for that, and it's called the parliament. The PTI has to go to the parliament, they have to sit there, they have to raise their matter on the floor, they have to let other assembly members also comment on what their proposals are, and that is how laws get passed under normal circumstances. They do not happen when you bring people on the streets. Nowhere is this a law, nowhere is this a legal process, nowhere is this a political process. And the fact that they constantly do this shows to me only one thing, which is that they are trying to deflect from the real issues. The real issues are that KPK is suffering, the people of KPK are suffering, the officers of KPK are suffering. They are not getting paid their salaries. Now, instead of giving them what they need, they are holding this Jalsa, trying to pin the entire blame on the government, trying to say that it is the federal government's fault. They would tell the officers, the people who have not been paid salary in the last couple of months, that you're not getting paid your salary because the federal government isn't releasing money. We will march to Islamabad and we will ask them to release the money. But that's the problem. They never do. They just tell these people these things, they get people this way to join in, and unfortunately it's not working anymore. As we have seen, their numbers are dwindling. They have consistently had to change their Jalsa dates. Now they're getting smaller and smaller. After this, I'm not sure if they are going to be able to gather any people, and this is PTI just dying its own natural death then. So it's very unfortunate that they're choosing to do it this way.
Do you think the change in leadership, as far as we've seen with the removal of Umar Ayub, will mean a change in thinking, will mean perhaps more as far as the government is concerned? Because one of the things that the PTI itself is saying is that they're saying that he wasn't able to do justice to his role as the opposition leader, and therefore he has decided to forego General Secretary of position. Do you think that that might happen? It's a welcome, it might be a welcome change, or no?
I'll tell you why. Because my understanding of PTI is that it is a very one-man centric party. That one man decides, he's the one who decided that Umar Ayub is no longer doing a good job. It is not the party that decided that he's not doing justice, or it is not his own conscience. I believe that the orders came from the very top. An individual thought that he was not doing a job well enough, so resignations were made, and I think new appointments would be made based on that person's whims. And we see this consistently happening. I think there is a lot of personality cults involved. There's a big issue of that sort. I'm not quite certain if PTI is the kind of political party that has active policy and efficiency debates, productivity debates. They're trying to figure out who has actually done good work or not. Because tickets have not been allotted based on people who have done good work. They have been allotted based on who has been more loyal to the king. And so this is one of the reasons. I'm not sure I understand the inner workings of PTI. So therefore, with my very little understanding, that's all I know. That it seems to revolve around one-man show.
Let me come back. Daniyal, as far as the leadership itself is concerned, I think that Safiullah very he's summed it up really well. As far as the leadership, it's coming from one man, and that is what. But within, we've also seen a lot of infight. We've also seen a lot of contradictory statements come in from one leader, the other leader, and I think Alima Saiba's statement is a case in point, where she said no, he didn't, and there's a lot of denial of statements. Do you think that overall is indicative of a disarray within the party?
More than that, see, basically amongst the other political parties, when a member of the party performs well and he delivers to whatever, or he fulfills whatever responsibility he's given by the leadership, he's acknowledged. Over here it's very different, because like Saifullah Ghauri was telling us, I agree with him, this is not a man who believes in democracy. See, the whole genius behind democracy is collective wisdom, where the people sit and have a constructive debate and then they decide. Here we have seen in the past that a person accused of being the biggest thief of Punjab later on becomes the speaker of Punjab all of a sudden, you know, as some divine revelation came and, you know, everything just changed. And more than that, so as far as the discipline or framework is concerned, or the way they function, they also have a very, especially the top leadership or the one man that we're talking about, he finds it very difficult following the law and accepting the writ of the government when it's not in his favor. And even when he was in power, the way he was victimizing his political opponents, and then he used to say, I'm going to take their air conditions away and I'm going to take their basic facilities away. So working within the constitution of Pakistan, they're finding difficult. So it's going to be impossible for them to work within a party framework, especially when he's head of the party. So as far as your question is concerned, the whole it's not a disagreement, it's basically a power struggle where everyone is trying to somehow impress one person, and the easiest way is to put up a bigger circus or a bigger ruckus, and that's all that matters in this party.
Fair enough. Before I go to Fakhar Saab, Safiullah, quick question to you. I wanted to, you know, unfortunately we have very limited time, but in terms of a lot that is being said as far as military trial is concerned.
Sorry, so what is the question, Mahrukh? What about the military trials?
Is it a possibility in your opinion?
I think there is a real possibility of a military trial. Yes, I think now that we have seen the trial of General Fakhar Hameed and the fact that it is a military trial, I think it might end up going all the way up to Imran Khan. And although currently, of course, the issues do not pertain to this, but you know, once this happens, once investigations start, a lot of things start opening up. And a lot of, from what we hear from the grapevine, a lot of things are already coming up. A lot of different allegations have already been made. Imran Khan himself has also said the same thing, that you know they will put Fakhar Hameed, and Fakhar Hameed will then say things against me, and then that will be used for a military trial against me. So I think on that end he might actually be correct, because there is a possibility that you know Fakhar Hameed, and who he was very close to, will end up saying some certain things that implicate Imran Khan. And so there might be a possibility that Imran Khan because once again there are the military trials, the military courts have a special purview that deal with certain state secrets, and we don't want those things going out in the courts, especially once again in light of the fact that Imran Khan is one of those very few leaders who have violated the Official Secrets Act, you know, by the cipher and all of these previous problems that we have had, and the fact that he has not followed law on that end either. I think it might necessitate a military trial if state secrets are involved. And with the former chief of ISI, I think there might be state secrets.
Do you agree with this? Do you think that, you know, of course we don't know what will happen, and it's your opinion that I'm asking for. But, you know, in terms of a dialogue, then it becomes difficult, and then a foreseeable future where the opposition and the government can sit together and talk about issues seems rather far away, no?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. I apologize.
It's for Fakhar Saab. I'm asking him what his opinion is after your comments. Ji, Fakhar Saab.
What are you asking? Actually, can you repeat the question?
Fakhar Saab, I'm saying that, you know, because of this, what Safiullah is saying, he's talking about this possibility of military trial, as are numerous people. If there is indeed that possibility, if it does happen, then the chances of there being a dialogue, a conducive dialogue of any kind between the government and the opposition seems a far-fetched possibility. Isn't that true?
Yeah, actually, I think so. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is trying to avoid the military trial. As the Ghauri Saab said, actually, he's a barrister. I'm not a law expert, but I think so. PTI are trying for that, and the chairman of PTI is also trying for that to avoid the military trial. And as well as the dialogue is concerned with the government, I think so. It is very important. not only for the PTI or for the government, but it's very important for Pakistan, I think so. And the PTI should also should be, I think so, should show a broad heart and things like that, I think so. And the government is also actually, if they will sit for the dialogue and they conclude something good for the betterment of Pakistan, I think so. This will be a good thing. But as well as the PTI people are concerned, they are just trying, as the Ghauri Sahab said, that they want that the Imran Khan should be released from the Adiala jail. I think so. This is not a good thing. They should come in the parliament and they should deliver. They should deliver. My concern is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I think so. They are not delivering over there. From last 15 years, they have their government. Now the Gandapur Sahab is the chief minister. He is just standing over there and release the statement against the federal government. I think so. He should sit with the federal government and release the fund from the federal government, especially the electricity cost and things like that. I think so. This is very important. But for all these things, I think so the PTI and the government should show the maturity for that. I think so. If they will say they will take a gandasa in against each other, I don't think so that that will be good for us as well as for the Pakistan.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for joining us today. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Daniyal Sheikh, thank you for being with us today. Fakhar Yousafzai, thank you for joining us. Barrister Safi, Ghauri, thank you for being with us today. When we talk about issues, I think it's really important for all political parties, when we talk about protests that happen, those protests should be based on sound demands that are for the people. Those protests should be based on issues that concern the masses. Those protests should be based on, like we talked about, perhaps the situation in KP, perhaps the funds in KP, perhaps, providing people with what they need at this time, with the kind of economic climate that we are looking at. It should not be personality based. It should not be to safeguard leaderships, which is unfortunately something that we've seen in the politics of Pakistan lately a lot more. I think that is something that is perhaps something that those that support political parties need to reflect on and think about. Whether they are coming out, whether they're becoming a part of a crowd to talk about the release of an individual, to talk about the freedom of an individual, or are they coming out to talk about concerns of the masses? Is the political party concerned about what they can do with the mandate that has been given to them? Having a mandate, being the largest party in opposition is not a small mandate. There comes a lot of responsibility with that power. There comes a lot of responsibility with the ambit of that power. And it has to be exercised within the ambit that has been given for the people, by the people, of the people. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.